isn't getting done. So I would take a suggestion from you, maybe we have them come in,
Well, there's a variety of ways that you can do it.
or other suggestions. For
As we do now, all the packets are provided to the finance officer. Matter of fact, there's 4 additional ones sitting up here now for your next meeting. You can take a look at them, you can, as you come in to review the warrants, jot down your questions. We can have those provided. I can set up meetings that you can meet with the assessor's agents to review the abatements prior to action. Or, my other suggestion is that we have these assessors, contract assessors here to explain to you, these abatement applications that are before you.
All this information is sitting in the office up there all week long.
Correct.
You know, I'm getting the impression that this town is in one damn mess as far as their assessments are concerned. To be getting all the abatements, we're getting either that or somebody's making some big errors.
Well, you certainly have had opportunity on several occasions that I've had the assessors, agents in front of you to ask them specific questions and to get answers so you feel more comfortable with the property, that the recommendations that they're making before you.
I don't think they've come several times since I've been on the board.
They've come at least twice since you've been on the
I
board.
think once, isn't it?
No,
No, because the first time they were here, I was sitting over there.
it's been twice.
The fact is, all this information is sitting in the office for review all week long.
We need to start looking at it, and looking at it, and if you got questions, ask them.
That doesn't do much good either.
Well, the way we're doing it isn't doing much good, because we're spinning our wheels here and wasting time, so we need to get something together here and get it right.
Just tell me what you'd like me to provide to you, whether it's,
Selectman Chambers said this information is sitting in there.
I don't know what more information you can provide. You're providing everything sitting up in the office right there. We come in and we sign the warrants, we sign everything else. We sign, you know, the accounts payable and stuff like that. The stuff is sitting right there.
But if you came in on a Monday or a Friday, you could take that information and go down and ask them, the assessor.
you could do that as well.
Because Janet can't explain that.
No, we're not there to explain it, but they are there, and if you'd like to coordinate it, I will advise them that you folks may stop in from time to time to review the
And
event.
they're a phone call away.
Yes.
And that new guy, he's pretty good.
That's on the plan?
Fine with me.
Yeah, that's Monday or Friday.
I'm satisfied the way I voted, only because that's the way I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it, Keith?
Yes, so we do have public comment and then an executive session that we need to hold.
Public comment? Yes.
Holy moly.
Wow, that was quick. I just wanted to add, you pointed out some good classes there earlier in the meeting, and there's a real good one on in Brewer, on December 15th, sponsored by Jetsy. It's a class about water treatment discharges and the effect on wastewater treatment. You know, anybody wants to go, but I'd be glad to provide rides. I wanted to ask a couple of other questions, and just because of tonight's meeting, I finally caught my breath, but what positions does this board appoint? Is rec, planning board, board of appeals, fire chief,
The sewer district.
sewer district, yeah?
Oh, no, we don't appoint the fire chief and the police chief. Keith hires.
They're hired, yeah?
Yeah, they're appointed.
Emergency management officer or anything,
They're
any other
appointed by
appointment?
me, subject to confirmation by the board.
What time of year are most appointments made outside of the sewer district? Around
December.
calendar year,
I
December?
did it in December.
Yeah, the sewer district's charter, I mean, basically says that you make that appointment within about 10 days of town meeting. Town meeting's usually June or July.
Early May.
Okay. Yeah, May, June. Okay, May. Now, you guys have an appointment policy.
I would hope so.
You do, believe me.
Yeah, they do.
Okay?
Yes.
It was
Appointment.
coincidentally, I mean, Mr. Ramsey supported it heavily. It was signed for, I believe, the beginning of June of 2007, which is interesting because it was the middle of the year. The only appointment that normally comes up is at around town meeting time in the sewer district. And, but what I like to point out is that every year, I've got some good people on our board. I send in a letter of support. Some of those letters have included the signatures of the remaining trustees. And every time I get here, Mr. Ramsey usually calls for, don't we have an appointment policy? And the dust gets taken off and so we gotta put this out in the paper and ask if anybody's interested because our appointment policy says so. Did that happen tonight with that requisition? I'd actually challenge you to go back and look at the last couple of years. Do you have the records of those ads put in for planning board and all the other
Yes.
regular appointments?
It goes in for planning and appeals, doesn't it?
Anyway, I'd look into it. The only thing that I say, I don't mind if you have a policy, but not the selective application of those policies. I know it comes up every year when we appoint sewer district trustees, believe me. And tonight, after that was done, I just had to say something. Because I've seen it every year. Every year. You know, in the case of boards like that, can't you take, I mean, you certainly took, yeah, Kim's recommendation, and the person wasn't even here. I have my trustees here, we have recommendation, they have particular experience, when it comes to the sewer district, it's a, you know, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that goes on here, but it's a lot of technical background. To take somebody in new would require a lot of training, a lot of adjustment time. If someone said yes to this ad that you put out, yeah, I wanna go on the sewer board, how would you make an educated decision to accept that person over somebody that's on our board? You have no idea of what they do, how they act, how they perform in their position. I'd just like you to consider that,
There is a
because
difference, you're talking boards and you're talking.
appointments, it's an
committees
appointment
and
policy, but for board appointments. It's clearly,
But they're not a board, that's not a board, is it?
No, I think the point he's trying to make is well taken. I understand it.
hey, I don't mind if you have a policy, you know, if you wanna advertise everyone, but do it on all the other ones. Because I know you don't do it on all the other ones. It did happen
Don't we
tonight.
do it
I
for
had
planning?
met Tracy last night. I worked,
Mhm.
and I met Tracy last night, so
Yeah.
I met her and she never stopped. She was working all the time.
Okay, so and I appreciate your opinion, I trust your judgment, great.
Well,
Can't you give that latitude to somebody else, or, I mean, make it equal, that's all I'm looking
you're
for.
absolutely right.
Thank you.
Or else advertise before their time is up. We're gonna have some appointments coming up, advertise before.
As long as it's consistent.
That's right.
Why make a policy if you don't?
Yes,
I have a brief statement about the picking at Eleanor to go look at the stuff the week before and come in here with a decision made. I, for one, would just like to say I appreciate the conversation being had at this table. Because there's a lot of things we learn, like one thing, I didn't know I was supposed to go check my card, I'm gonna go home and post it on my Facebook page tonight, that everybody needs to come down here and check their pay, or check their card, and while they're here, they should step in the office and see if there's any bids that are gonna be coming up due.
That's right.
You're gonna be busy.
anyone else? Just,
On checking the cards, Mike Norton,
my turn.
when checking things, something you guys may do. I recently built a new house. 2 years in a row now, my mortgage company and myself had to come down here and correct who owned what property. That's 2 years in a row, we've had to fix the same problem, the mortgage company and me. My brother just built a house, and when I come down to fix the same problem again, the house was in my name that he's building. So there's some issues going on in the assessment area that really, we ought to be taking a look at this, cause that's, one mistake is fine, but the same mistake in 2 years, that's a little unacceptable to me, paying these people to come in, and then a house that's being built in my brother's name is in my name by the assessors. That's unacceptable, that's just showing a real lack of detail. We're paying these people how much money, and they're making mistakes like that, so.
That's right,
There-
they're
there-
making
there's-
errors.
There's a glaring issue there that needs to be addressed. I'm not qualified to say how to go about assessing, but those two issues that I've experienced here in the last couple of weeks should be evident that there is something wrong in that department, and it needs to be looked at. Because you guys, we're losing money, probably because they're not paying attention, or I would have to pay taxes on 2 houses.
He's got the cash.
Dig
up a- dig up-
Michael?
Dig up another coffee can.
The card is accurate now.
What's it, Michael?
We did, but I did that last year with my house too, and they sent the wrong tax map to my mortgage company.
I see.
And the escrow company taxed me, so now my mortgage is gonna go up because they were paying a tax on a smaller assessment, and, yeah, so it's just, there's some issues going on here, and I've had firsthand, dealing with it.
Part of the thing we do have is an issue that we need to address, and this, I'm not saying that happened in your case, but all our tax information is on Vision software appraisal system. When the bills go out, it has to be transferred to Munis software system. In the transfer, the documents generally are reviewed to make sure that they're accurate. But there may be some problems that are happening there, and I appreciate you bringing it up, because I'll approach it with the finance director in the assessor's office to see what things we can do to fix that.
Well, let me give another little error they made. We sold a piece of property, and, it was sold after April 2nd, so naturally I should have got the my husband had died, I should have got the tax bill. Well, I didn't get it, and so I assumed that maybe Jim and Jill Ellen had got it.
I see.
And so, anyhow, I came down and checked, the bill was sent to Eleanor Murphy, Bedford, New Hampshire. Never in my life have lived in any other town but Berwick, Maine. And, you know, and.
Did she pay it?
And my name was in the town report, unpaid taxes, and that irritated me.
I guess she didn't pay it. I guess she didn't pay it.
So, I mean, you talk about errors, all I've ever done is make errors. And how they got Bedford, New Hampshire with my name, I have no idea. And it was, I thought it was Judy or somebody that checked it out, and she came back, she said, oh, it went to Bedford, New Hampshire, but it came back. And they still didn't give it to me.
Maybe that's where the new people came from?
No, they came from Massachusetts.
Oh.
Not even close.
Any further public comment? Okay, I'll take a motion to go in executive session under MRSA 4056D. Discuss the labor contract issue. Second? All in favor?
I want recliners. Smitty. And something to drink. Popcorn.